Auto Web. Welcome to the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast, the #1 resource for automotive sales professionals, managers, and owners to learn how to make money, accumulate wealth, and to all out ball out in the auto industry. And now your hosts, Sean V. Bradley and L.A. Williams.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Auto Web.
Hey everybody, this is Sean V. Bradley, the president of Dealer Synergy and the creator of the Millionaire Car Salesman Group. And I am super excited because I got a special guest. We've got Beth Grant. She's the owner and GM of the Thomson Auto Group, which is Thomson, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and Waynesboro CDJR. So Beth, welcome to the Millionaire Car Salesman Facebook group, and welcome to the Millionaire Car Salesman podcast, which is going to air after we go live. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you today, Sean?
Well, if I'm going to speak frankly, I'm freaking the hell out. I have this huge conference in 1 week from today. People are flying in from all over the country, and I just want to be perfect. And I do believe that your daughter is going to be a featured panelist, and I don't know if I'm able to. I don't think you're coming to this one, right?
I can't make it. I wish I could. I really wish I could.
But it's okay. But you're sending your emissary. You're sending your daughter to the event, which is awesome. So we're excited. And I believe your internet director is going too, right?
I am. I'm sending my internet director and my daughter. Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Got to get everybody educated, everybody on board.
So tell me, so again, let's talk about that just for a quick second, is because I think it's really progressive. Tell me why you as an owner and GM operator of multiple stores, why are you sending people to an educational conference? What do you hope to get out of it?
You know, it's just so difficult to move forward without the right people, and you have to give them the right tools. And I feel that I have the right people, but they always have to be tested, and they always have to be, you forge steel through fire, right? And that's the way I feel about training. And that's the way I feel about conferences that we could send people off to where they could be educated and learn. And, you make them, if you hire people that have a drive, that have a desire to do something with their life, then you kind of have to give them the tools and also apply a little bit of pressure to see if they can come up to that level that you need in your organization, if you want to build an excellent organization, and that they need to hit their goals in life.
So what as the owner of a dealership, or dealerships plural, I'm sorry. So what are the things now that we're in 2022? First of all, Happy New Year, by the way.
Thank you.
Okay. So
I'm wanting to close the door on 2021.
Oh, hell yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So what is super important for you? What are you, looking to grow in knowledge and experience for you and your team? Like the people that you're sending, what do you want them to get out of this IS20G event?
Internet director needs to understand more about why internet departments fail and what makes them successful. And we've been working on that. Even though we do know, we still have not, I felt, gotten to that level that we need to get to. And by educating, that's where you get people. You've got to get them out there. They've got to talk with other people as well. You cannot be the lone voice in the wilderness all the time, spewing forth the philosophy. It has to be, they've got to meet with their peers. They've got to get with other people and share ideas. So a lot of times the best ideas they get are at the lunch table. So.
Absolutely. Are you part of an NAD or NCM 20 group?
I'm not, but I really, in 2022, that's one thing I want to do, is I want to get involved in a 20 group.
Well, that's why we named our conference. People ask me all the time, wait a minute, is this a traditional 20 group? And I'm like, no, because I've spoken to Beth, approximately like 400 NAD and NCM 20 groups in the last almost 18 years. That's a long time. And that's a lot of 20 groups. And one of the things that I love about 20 groups, a traditional NAD or NCM 20 groups, is the collaboration. So if you are a CDJR, franchise, or multiple CDJR franchises, technically you would get in with, 19 other Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, or Chrysler dealerships, et cetera. And they're your peers. So you can't bullshit them. You know what I mean? You guys are going to look at each other's composites, financials, and you're going to be able to look under the covers. And the whole idea is getting with 19 other, and sometimes it's a little more, it's a little less, but people that are like you, other operators, other dealers, other GMs, other owners, and really identify the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, going through everything from HR, marketing, advertising, variable ops, fixed operations, all this stuff for one purpose, to be able to help each other do more, be more, and achieve more. So what we wanted to do from this concept is make it like not a 20 group, but a 2,000 group, so to speak. So I'm excited about it. Now I want to redirect, I want to pivot really quick. I want to go into, let's just call it what it is. We talked about beforehand. I'm just super impressed that you are, a female and in the automotive industry, because I've said this over and over. Anybody listens to me, I don't think that there are enough females, first of all, with any aspect. I don't care if it's freaking service writers, sales reps, managers, but there's damn sure not enough females that are dealer owners and operators. So tell us, do you agree with that statement? Like, do you think that there's enough females in automotive?
No, I think maybe I'm just crazy. That's the reason why I'm just crazy enough. But no, there are not a lot of females in automotive. It's not a typical female field. You're not going to get a lot of other girls making you feel good about yourself in this field. It's a tough business. And, you have to be made a certain way as a female to be in this business and to succeed. And and I think that women, we tend to be more competitive, and we don't mentor each other. We don't support each other enough. And to move forward in any industry, we're going to have to figure out a way to make connections. And a lot of times I think it's pressure that we put on ourselves to always be perfect and to not ask for help. And one of the things I've learned most importantly as a female is to not be afraid to ask for help, because it does not make me look weak. It actually makes me look more human and more accessible, and people will help me of all kinds that I've asked for help. And that's, maybe just not knowing the answer to something. And so I think we women need to be less competitive a little bit.
Listen, I know when not to chime in, because I'm not a female and I can't speak on what you said. But what I can say from a male's perspective, I think that you addressed something or spoken about one part of the perspective of the problem of not enough females. But I also think that, and I want your opinion on this because I'm a dumb guy, you know what I mean, I think part of it also is the males that dominate this industry. I don't know if they properly, not all of them. So like some guys are really in tuned in a good way, but I don't think enough men, that's what I'm searching for. I don't think enough men understand how to properly recruit females. I don't think they know how to onboard them, how to train them, how to support them, because to your point, this is a male dominated industry. And so, when you're, I'm not making any excuses at all. I'm just saying, when you're in a dealership and guys are talking a certain way and they're aggressive or they're this or they're that, but I don't think, that they understand that, that doesn't transfer all the time to how females. Can you speak about that? Because I don't want to sound stupid, but you know where I'm going with this?
A lot of times I think men don't realize how aggressive they come across to females. And women oftentimes, sometimes it's abuse. Sometimes it becomes abusive. And women, we as a whole, we don't often say, hey, look, enough. I don't like this, And so it's a two-way communication that is lacking. There's not enough recruiting of females. Most females that are in the car business, I think, are coming up through the BDC, through the internet department, or maybe into the accounting department. Maybe there are some female salespeople that are coming in that way as well and going up. I've seen a lot of females in finance. in any area of the car business that I have seen is finance.
My wife doesn't let me touch the money at home or at Dealer Synergy. So it's funny you mentioned that. She's got like 15 years of accounting and she's forensic with the money. So I'm sensing a pattern with women and money here.
Well, that could be true, but they are going into the finance end of automotive. But the bridge going into being a general sales manager and then becoming an owner, that's where it seems to me to be breaking down a little bit. Maybe the hours have something to do with it and child rearing. I don't know. But there's definitely, there needs to be better communication on both sides. Because it took me a long time to understand. I do this analogy. I say men are like puppy dogs. They go into your living room and they knock over your end table and they knock over your coffee table and they break your lamp and they don't even know they did anything wrong. And so I spent so many years in the car business being upset because someone didn't like my coat or the way my hair was done or whatever, and realized they're just puppy dogs. They mean nothing by it. And we're taking it so serious and we're so upset and we're all this. So it has to be a two-way kind of loosening up and better communication. But I do think that it's happening in millennials, where it did not exist in boomers, my generation, because I am officially old in the dirt. But it didn't happen with me. It's definitely happening with millennials. I see that's one of the reasons why I love to hire millennials, is because they're open to me. I don't have to fight to get my point across or even really to collaborate with them. And so it's great.
No, you said something about communication, and I want to preface my next statement by saying I am a married man with my wife for about 15 years, and I have two adult daughters. One's 21 and one's 22 and a half. And so with that, I'm going to say, I don't understand my women sometimes in my life. And there's a book, Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus. I think that, I believe in equality 1000%, but there really is a difference, I believe, on how men are wired mentally, emotionally, communication-wise, what's important-wise. And I think that, I can't name a sitcom, or a movie that a genre that doesn't have some type of, comedy about like men and women and marriage, stuff like that, because of communication, and we're different. So I think that, if we're just honest and real with each other, we need to identify that we are equal, but we are different. And I think that, that if we could better bridge that gap in understanding the opposite sex and expectations and communications, I think that would be a good step in the right direction to be able to start having more females in automotive. Would you agree with that or disagree?
I agree 100%. I think communication is the key to everything. But I do think that there is a barrier against women in automotive. There's no doubt about it. And it's not an easy glass ceiling to bump through. I've been bumping through glass ceilings for a long time, and it's not easy. But more and more, you're seeing more women in automotive. And I hope I haven't said anything in this podcast that's hit anybody the wrong way, because believe me, it's meant only out of kindness and sincerity. So,
well, no, I'm going to say to you, again, you're based out of Georgia, correct? Yeah,
right.
So I have another female dealer principal, we call her Miss Wanda, but Wanda, she is from Chronic Chevrolet and from the Chronic Auto Group down in, I think it's Griffin, Georgia, I believe. And she is an amazing, fierce dealer operator, and there's other females in automotive that are dealers or operators, but they're too far and few between. But I want to share something. Right. I don't think it's just, and I'm going to go back to what we talked about, what you mentioned about hours in a second. So if I forget, take me back to the hours thing. But my two daughters, what they've share with me by being on the showroom floor, it's not just the difficulty that they might feel from, the dealership side, I mean, there's still some angst and stress from the customer side. They have to but they have to deal with some silly people coming in and seeing them thinking that they're just the receptionist. And then when they say, no, actually, when they're looking, hey, can I speak to a salesperson? They're like, I am, product specialist or client advisor, or I'm an automotive professional. They're like, yeah, honey, go get me one of the guys. And so they have to deal with that too. But what I will say, though, is that a lot of times there's people that actually prefer a female sales consultant for various reasons, especially other females. And I want to put the stat out there. And I know for a fact that off the just top of my head, General Motors has a number that I believe it's like 83% of car sales is decided by the females. Females have the buying power. Fact. As a matter of fact, not only do they have 83% buying power, but they influence about 56% of all truck sales. So here's what I would say is that if my demographic, were females, then I, as a good general manager or operator, just playing chess, would want to make sure that I have the best environment and I have the best people to, represent my clientele. It just doesn't make any sense. If females are the decision makers, for us to have such far and few between females in service, in sales, in management, and ownership, just doesn't make any sense to me. Your thoughts?
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Attention auto dealers, you need an opportunity to do business. AutoWeb is one of the largest suppliers of high quality leads, high quality buyers. At a 10% closing ratio, you will be at less than $190 per car sold. Don't just settle for what you get. AutoWeb can fully customize your results through targeted markets and/or zip codes, and as a partner, you will get premium placement within search results. Who better to do that than literally the people that invented automotive internet sales? If you want to sell more cars more often and more profitably, then you need AutoWeb.
You're right. It doesn't make any sense. It's just a lot of women need maybe a little more mentoring about how to get ahead and how to overcome some obstacles in just working that maybe no one has really explained to them. I mentor women sometimes, that I come across to try to explain to them more about this and how they can get ahead. Because really, Sean, I hate to use football, it's eye on the ball. If you want to get ahead, you've got to have a focus and you've got to have a drive and you've got to put it ahead of everything else. Someone told me once, people who succeed are willing to do things that other people aren't willing to do. And I mean legally, but seriously.
I love that. Sounds familiar.
It's the time, it's the effort, it's the drive. It's what are you going to put into it? Because you only get out of things what you put into it. And so, and all of that is, there's a lot of distractors, I think, for females because we're raising children, and primarily that's our main, focus for a lot of our lives, and it's hard to balance it all. It's very hard.
You don't even know what you just did. You just artistically went back to the point that I wanted to zero in on, is the time. I also think besides everything that we've mentioned, I want to flesh out the time. I think that our schedule is archaic. And let me just flow for a second here, is that, this whole bell-to-bell bullshit, and I'm sorry, but it's bullshit, working 12 hours a day. Stop. You've met Cody Carter. This dude sold 154 cars in March in the pandemic, 154 cars with one assistant, and he doesn't do any bell-to-bells. So Ali Reda, who broke the Guinness Book of World Records and has sold officially over 200 and I think 9 or 218, something like that, over 200 cars on the showroom floor with two assistants. He doesn't work a freaking bell to bell. The reason why there's bell to bells is, and this is from the last 23 years plus of my experience in automotive, is because the majority of people suck in automotive. They are complacent with mediocrity. And when you're only selling 9.6 cars and you're working 55, 60 hours a week. That's because dealers feel that's what they needed people to be able to do just to get that at least 10 cars from people. But if we train people the right way, we mentor people the right way, we give people the right resources, they should be able to be successful. So here's my point to you. I agree with you, whether it's because of childcare or just because the hours just suck. And what human being, whether they're male or female, but I guess females are smarter than guys because they're like, I'm not tolerating 12-hour shifts, and I think that if we re-looked at the schedule, whether it's more realistic schedule A or B, there's flex schedules like some other, corporations, or there's the ability to work from home on certain careers within the dealership. I think that would significantly help, not just females, but to your point, millennials and Generation Z, the younger people do not want to work these archaic, antiquated schedules. Thoughts on that?
Well, I agree with you. I think that the shift is archaic. It's also it's based really on people shopping 3 dealerships and kicking tires on Sunday and doing things the way things used to be done. We're in the middle of a dynamic shift. I mean, we're in the middle of 2 dynamic shifts. I often feel, Sean, you ever stood at the beach with the water coming in over your feet? Yes. So 1 minute you're on solid ground, the next minute the sand is shifted and you're moving because the sand is gone. Well, that's the car business right now. We are standing on sand, and from month to month, I don't know how many cars new I'm going to have and when I'm going to get them. I don't know what my advertising message is going to be. I'm having to shift and I'm having to move. And so we're in the middle of this dynamic shift. And then I see people like Carvana and other Vroom and other people that are growing massively year by year, massive increases. And I start thinking of where is the automotive industry going in the next couple of years? We've shifted here for coronavirus. What's the next shift? Where are we going? And so flex schedules and all of this, I mean, when you consider that more than half of the internet leads that come in to a dealership come in when the dealership's closed, all of a sudden you're having to think outside the box and away from the old way of doing things. And, even home delivery. I mean, there's so many things that are on the horizon. I don't know where we're going to end up, and I don't have all the answers. I promise you that.
Well, I have something I'm going to spin your wheels on in a couple of seconds of what the future is coming through. But I want to freestyle with a couple more things. And then I want to close out this podcast with this metaverse stuff, because I think it's going to shock you what I'm about to show you and what we're going to talk about in a couple of minutes. But okay, so now I want to bring up, you were fabulous as my keynote guest at the Digital Dealer, big show. I mean, we were in Vegas for Digital Dealer. And again, you were the dealer on the stage. And I think that you had such incredible insight. So you have a tremendous amount of experience in automotive, obviously, to not just be a dealer, a GM and operating owner and all that other stuff, but to be successful, to be able to weather a pandemic. So I want you to, if you can, just kind of share, whether it was some of the stuff you talked about at Digital Dealer or just some new stuff off the top of your head. What do you think it takes? Because it's January 2022 right now. So what do you think is, and you just said it, I mean, I love the whole analogy of the sand, you know what I mean? Like, we're standing on sand right now in this industry. So what do you think it takes right now for January 2022 for dealers to be successful, operators and GMs? What should they be focused on right now to be successful during these crazy times?
Well, I'm focusing on processes and procedures and training. But I think that we have to, every single day, look at the reality of our inventory situation and make decisions just boom, like that, shifting, because we might have to make dramatic changes in our dealership, and they change constantly. And when we have the time now, it is time to focus on processes and procedures and to deliver the very best customer experience that we possibly can. That's one thing that we really pride ourselves on, is very high customer satisfaction. And that comes from the way that you answer the internet lead. So it's all where my focus is right now. And I'm using Excel and whatever program I can to try to understand where my inventory is going to be, because I don't know. It's constantly changing. I say sometimes it's like, you've got to look at the truth, the ugly truth, and you've got to face it. You can't just think it's going to change.
I love what you said about the customer service. I want to dive into this because Roy Davila was on stage with you, and you guys both flushed out this concept is that to compete in 2022, you need to out-experience the competition, because at the end of the day, a lot of this is, do you have inventory? Okay, so if you do have inventory, why should somebody do business with you? So if there are two F-150s, and if you're both freaking 5Gs or 6Gs over sticker, or in your case, Ram 1500s, I was going there again. I naturally correct that. Thank you. Again, if you have 1500s in stock, again, why Waynesboro CDJR over ABC Motors? Because again, it's going to be experience. So can you talk about some things that you guys do to give exceptional customer experience, or can you share a story of how you guys went above and beyond for one of your clients and they really appreciate it? Because I want to just give some examples to our listeners on this podcast.
Well, I think the first thing is that there's a lot of processes and procedures that you can get in place that will increase customer satisfaction. And for example, inspecting your used cars and make sure that they really are in good condition. But we've had a policy here since we opened the door in Waynesboro. We've had a policy in Thomson for a lot longer of taking care of the customer. And you just have to listen to them. You have to be accessible to them so they can call you. And you've got to be fair and come up with a fair solution to some problems that come up that no one can really foresee, that can be avoided. And that's what we've always tried to do. But really, it goes beyond that. We're going to have to deliver vehicles. We're going to have to deliver them in a clean and pristine way. We're going to have to get vehicles so we can deliver vehicles. I mean, even as going into like a used car locating service where we can, say, hey, would you like to locate? We'll locate a used vehicle for you. Things like that are things that we're going to have to do, I think, to bring that customer satisfaction up to the next level. I'm trying to make it fun to buy a car here.
Well, we're going to transition in about like 3 more minutes to this metaverse concept thing, which I think is going to be freaking really fun. But I love what you said. The first thing that you just said there that I got out of it is being fair. Covey talks about in the 4th habit, think win-win. Any long-term relationship, whether it's personal or business, if you want to have a long-term relationship, it has to be built on a win-win. And sometimes, in our industry, unfortunately, there's people that just want to crack home runs, and grossing is okay. I'm a trainer, so I'm all about grossing, but you got to provide value to justify the gross. You can't turn around and charge people over sticker or like, thousands of dollars, higher than current market value just because you can, and give shitty service. I mean, price is only relevant with the absence of value. Now, yes, if you are going to be in an economic situation that we're in right now, there is the reality that there's supply and demand. I get that. But man, people are going to remember this shit when the market adjusts, and it will adjust sometime. They're going to remember people that beat them over the head or extorted them or, did not do good business. And I honestly believe what you said is so correct, Beth, that if you really just try to do things the right way, and problems are going to come up, and what we try to do through proper preparation is minimize problems. But the reality is, when problems come up, how do you deal with them? That shows the true integrity of a person or an organization. When something comes up, do you do the right thing or you do the easy thing? And I know that you guys have a moral compass that shines true north, and that's why you're successful. Talk to me though, what do you think has been something, like you said, accessible? So are you, as the owner and GM operator, are you personally accessible to clients? Oh, yeah. That's big, because some people don't feel that they should be. How much has that helped you and your business by you personally as the leader of the organization being accessible and being hands-on?
Well, sometimes being a woman and them not really knowing you're the owner kind of helps you to hide too. No, not
Okay,
really.
fair enough.
But seriously, no, I think being accessible lets people know that you are there for them. And that's really important. But I think when you get back to price, gross is not a dirty word. Gross is what we're here to make money. But I think sometimes we create a problem by, even in the BDC, focusing too much on price, letting people cut us down in price. Then we get to the point where they show up, they're mad because they were told they're going to get a discount. All that stuff are the failings of the BDC also sets you up for poor customer satisfaction. When you do business the right way, and then they come back and they need a key or they need something else, going ahead and cutting them the key and considering it future advertising or getting a good Google review in return for a key, to me is a no-brainer. But then you've also got the situation where someone buys a car and they've got a serious problem with the car right after purchase. Are you going to stand up? You got to figure out some way of what is the right thing. And that's what we try to do. It's hard, but we try to figure it out.
No, I love that. And my last question before I go into this metaverse for automotive conversation with you, because I'm really intrigued, about what your opinion is going to be as an owner and as a GM operator. But my last question is this: when, like in 20 groups, they have something called the best idea, right? Right. So can you share with our audience some things? It doesn't have to just be one. If you had a couple of things, what are things that you're doing besides dealer synergy and brother demand? So it's not a commercial for me. Like, what are some things that you're doing? That was a commercial on the side. I'm just kidding. So what are some of the things that you're doing that are really successful, whether it's marketing or it's technology or it's a resource? What would you like to kind of share with your colleagues that are listening to this?
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Did you know 40% of service calls go to voicemail or hang up?
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
How many times does it take for your customers to connect with someone at your store?
The world may never know.
Unless you have CallSource customers connect with 96% of their clients' calls and convert over 85% of bookable calls to appointments. Really? If you're not performing at that level, or if you don't know, then text HELP to 855-963-2686 and receive a free evaluation of your store's performance.
People have really connected with the fact that first of all, there are a lot of women working in this store, but people have connected with the fact that I put the employees in the ads. And so when they walk into the store, they see the people that are working there and they're working the deal with someone they saw in the ads. And that really brings the dealership to the customer. It really also helps, in the negotiations and all, because they feel they know that person a little bit. So that right there has just been one of the things that helps. And just talking about the whole, trying to convey to them that what our benefits are, what is it that we bring to the table differently. We've spent so many years doing price. Now we're not in price bashing times, So now what do you talk about? Well, you talk about the fact that we're not a corporate store. We are family owned and operated, that we are here for them, that all these things that people want to hear. And so that's what we try to do. That's my best idea. Is it good enough?
Yes. And it's funny you mentioned that. I just signed up a 5 rooftop dealer group. I'm going to tag them in this. It's the Clement Auto Group in St. Louis. They own a Hyundai store. They own a Ford store and 3 independent dealerships. The dealer, Raj, picks me up in a Lamborghini Urus. He's flexing. Nice. Then he's got good taste on the first day. And I go to the dealership and my God, Beth, this guy is like Mr. St. Louis. There's billboard after billboard after billboard. And I love it. But I asked him, and it's so funny you brought this up. That's why I'm going to tag him and the head of his marketing, Evangeline, on here. They had like actors, or they were nice looking people, but I asked him, I was like, who's that? Or, they're like, oh, that's just one of the actors. I'm like, well, why don't you have some of your own people in there. Wouldn't that be awesome? Because it's not only to everything you said, I believe spot on is righteous. I love what you said, but then think about this. Think about how proud your employees will be that you're advertising them. You know what I mean? Like they're like the local celebrity. They're on this huge billboard. I mean, I know some people are a little shy, but in the car business, especially in sales, I mean, you have to have a little bit of an ego, at least a little bit, and you want to, be known as that person. I mean, like, and plus they're gonna see that person, and like you said, there's gonna be some type of familiarity. People rather do business with someone they know, or they like to know, or that's like a little local celebrity. So I thought that was such a good little pro tip right there. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I concur.
And people want to buy from people they like. I mean, that we've said that forever. And, just bringing the people to the people, so, yeah. Yes. And then your other comment, which is something that I've been passionate about for my entire automotive training career, is articulating your value package proposition, which means what do you do different and better than anybody else? Not what everybody else sucks at, that, you know what I mean? And it's not about them. It's about what do you do? And there's so many things that you do. The fact that, the family owned and operated, to me, is okay. But what's even more powerful than that is what you said before that. The fact that, yeah, we're family owned and operated, but I myself, Beth, as the owner and managing partner, yeah. I'm here for you. I'm accessible to you, because if we're family owned and operated, follow my logic here. If I say we're a family owned and operated organization, but you ain't invite me over to Christmas or Hanukkah dinner, or you're not going to turn around and send me some, personalized, stuff, then it almost doesn't really matter. Your family owned and operated. But the fact that you say something like this, not only are we family owned and operated, but as the owner myself, I'm personally accessible to you. You are important to me. So even though I'm the owner, I'm here to make sure that you are completely satisfied. And that is my number one guarantee. Now I'm like, damn, she's the owner. Wow. And she's going to talk to me personally. She's not going to delegate her ninjas to, handle me. That is impressive. So I love that, Beth. That's so powerful. I answer all the Google reviews. I myself, hit in and go them, because I want to know what people
stop, because we're on a podcast too, or will be. So did you just say that you're the owner, yeah, and you personally respond to the Google reviews? Oh,
absolutely. Even the ones that don't say anything. Thank you very much. We appreciate your business. Thank you very much for choosing us, all of that. But yeah, I want to know what people think. I want to hear what they say, and I reply. Yeah, always have.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so because the time, I'm going to ask you some questions. Do you know what the metaverse is?
No, but I just Googled it. So
okay,
no.
It's okay. And I appreciate that. You could have cheated, but it's okay. No, and one of my closest friends is a guy named Jim G. He owns the RK Auto Group, and his GM, who's also a very close friend of mine, John Luciano. That's where my daughter Kalina works, at the RK Auto Group. Cool. And so I asked him, we were just at the UFC fight night last week, and we're sitting there waiting for the fighters to come out from the UFC, like Sean Brady and Cowboy Cerrone. And I asked him about the metaverse, and he looked at me like I was an octopus with like 8 tentacles. He's like, what the hell is a metaverse? And so I was shocked that he didn't know either. And I told them that Facebook just changed their name to Meta. Okay. And so I want to share some with you. And again, for the people that are going to listen to the podcast version, you're not going to be able to see this, but I'm going to talk and walk through this right here. So I'm going to go share my screen right now. So Beth, what we're doing is I'm going to find the video that I just posted the other day. There was just an article that came out, and I'm going to read it. It says H&M opens its first store in the metaverse. So I'm going to click this.
Oh,
this is insane. So watch this, Beth.
It's like a virtual.
So what you're seeing right now is the H&M, the clothing store, has this virtual reality. There's this virtual reality store. It's probably the biggest H&M store that I've ever seen, because it's virtual, and you can actually go into this H&M store and browse the different clothes that they have and actually order them, Beth, right from there. Now, here's what happens. Okay. You don't just do that like I just showed you on screen. You wear these 3D goggles. Yeah. Okay. So they're there. So it's fully three-dimensional, and they use what's called, virtual reality and augmented reality technology. So the reason why I'm mentioning this is because Stephanie is going to go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs when she comes next week to my conference, because I have the head of Meta, Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp has created a special presentation that they've never done before, specifically upon my request, about Meta and Metaverse and how it affects dealers. But wait, there's more. Here's my steak knives. Then I have a guy, I'm not going to mention his name because I don't want anybody stealing him from me until I get my contract done, who's going to be a speaker at the event as well. After Meta goes off, I have him. He's a Metaverse architect. So you want to talk about the future? Let's play with me and listen to this for a second. Can you imagine that if you own an actual virtual reality dealership? I'm not exaggerating what I'm about to say, so let me freestyle before you interject, but this is crazy. Now, let's just say that I am the salesperson and you, Beth, were the prospect, and you want to purchase a 2022 Jeep Grand Cherokee, right? So instead of this bullshit Carvana, you know what I mean, and the stupid vending machine, that is so 2021, all right? What we're going to be focusing on, and what I'm looking to do, is have you, the dealer, own a metaverse dealership. Why? Now, Beth, what you can do in this metaverse dealership is put on goggles from your house and walk into a beautiful dealership that you saw with H&M, but even bigger. But here's the difference, though. Almost like a video game, but it's real. You know what I mean? It's the closest thing. It doesn't look like a cartoon. It doesn't look corny. It looks almost like real. The technology for this is mind blowing, right? So when you walk in, it's like you walking into a real dealership. I'm going to up you. I have my own goggles on. I could be in the dealership. I could be at my house, or I could be in Aruba with my feet in the wet sand, but I have my goggles on and I could up you in the metaverse dealership. I could qualify you with an up sheet. I could go through the road to the sale, but even better than in real life, I could do a product selection and try to imagine, I don't know if you know, like Fortnite or Call of Duty, like this is crazy shit that I'm saying here. We could have inventory, spin up, find the vehicle, do the most incredible product presentation, features and benefits, because it's all through augmented reality and virtual reality. We could do the trade appraisal, the credit app. We could do everything in the metaverse, and then either set up an expedited delivery process at the dealership, or without them doing anything, deliver the vehicle to their home or office. What you just saw with that video with H&M, somebody could go in and shop for freaking clothes and buy the clothes and have the real clothes. You follow me? You go through the metaverse and you shop at H&M, and then the next thing you know, the real clothes are mailed to you through H&M on demand or whatever the hell it is. Well, that is what is the future for automotive, is the metaverse. How crazy is that?
It's insane. I mean, really, I don't even know what to say.
I lost your audio.
What? Lost the audio?
Beth, we lost your audio here. So as Beth gets her audio back, I'm going to continue kind of speaking. It is insane, folks, what the next level of evolution in automotive sales is. Beth, are you back?
I hope so.
Nope. So I don't know. There you are. There you are. You're back. Go ahead.
That's insane. It really is. I mean, to think about where we could be just in a very short period of time is really mind-blowing. And how do we wrap our heads around that? I mean, are we going to have salesmen, wearing this and bumping into walls? I mean, probably, but it's really talking to the customer on the level that they want to be spoken to. And they are driving this, and technology is driving this. Where are we going to end up? I mean, where is this going? I don't think any of us really know. I would be curious as to, can they get a feeling for the scale of the vehicle and things like that?
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's hard to see. Once, like after next week, I could release all of this stuff. Because It is. Did you see what H&M did? Well,
Yeah.
again, that's just a clothing store. And what's happening, I don't know if you noticed, but a lot of the companies now that do inventory are already utilizing augmented reality, but they have not done it inside the metaverse. So not yet. Here's what I'm going to say to you. Think about this. You have 3 billionaires. You have Sir Richard Branson, you've got Jeff Bezos, and you've got Elon Musk, who have all now flown into outer space. I mean, like, this is insane even talking about out loud. Like, this is true. I'm not making it up. And I don't know if you saw, but NASA, this is true. Google it. NASA just hired 24 theologians and priests to prepare the world for alien contact. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to wrap myself in tinfoil or some crazy shit like that, but I'm just trying to tell you, technology is insane right now at the pace of evolution in technology. And so we got to think about what can we do to keep it safe and make it convenient for our prospects to be able to shop and buy an automobile. And I really believe there's a reason why Facebook changed their name to Meta, and they're doubling down with this virtual reality and this metaverse. And some things that I wanted to show you, you could Google this, Beth. Did you know that somebody just spent $450,000 facts to be Snoop Dogg's neighbor in the metaverse? Not in the real block, but in the metaverse. That's how insane this shit is. Is that crazy or what?
Right. It is crazy. I do think there's a lot about on this. But I think that, we have to embrace it, because if we don't, we will be left behind.
Yes. And listen, you're breaking
no matter what
up.
processes and procedures have to be put in place, we have to. Yes, we're both having.
Yeah,
I don't know what's sorry.
It's breaking up really bad. I don't know if you remember the Max Headroom from back in the day, from the 80s. That's what it sounds like right now with the iPad. So let's wind this down, because you sound like for Max Headroom, or I do at least. So again, listen, I just wanted to get your opinion on that stuff. Thank God all of the interview with you in the very beginning sounded flawless, and you are absolutely brilliant. I am proud that we get to work with you and your organization. And I'm super excited to have, Stephanie as a featured speaker next week in Philadelphia at the IS20G. And she's going to come back with all this metaverse, content and technology stuff. So is there any closing statements you'd like to say?
I'm afraid I won't be able to say them.
Go ahead. That came in clear. So let's say closing out statement.
Just we're on for it's a new year, and we have to wrap our heads around the new changes and move forward, and don't stay where we are, because we'll be left behind.
Absolutely. Well, Beth, it's an honor to have you in the Millionaire Car Salesman group and on the Millionaire Car Salesman podcast. And I appreciate you, and I look forward to sharing your success. Thank you so much.
So there you have it, the Millionaire Car Salesman podcast. This podcast comes to you every week from the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. If you have a question about the show or would like the chance to become a guest, feel free to contact us directly at 856-546-2440 or email us at millionairecarsalesman@gmail.com. This program is a presentation of Synergy Records, produced by Tianna Mick and L.A. Williams. Production and engineering by L.A. Williams. The Millionaire Car Salesman podcast is hosted every week by L.A. Williams and the Millionaire Car Salesman himself, Sean V. Bradley. The Millionaire Car Salesman podcast can be found everywhere, so please don't forget to review, subscribe to, and share the show. Thanks for listening to the Millionaire Car Salesman podcast, and remember, where I'm from, money provides options. The Millionaire Car Salesman podcast is sponsored in part by AutoWeb and Call Review. If you enjoyed this podcast, then make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave us a review. Let some other folks know about it. Oh, and don't forget to join the Millionaire Car Salesman group on Facebook. We'll see you there.